right. We're out here with Cassian and Chloe, and we're going to work on a skill or a game that we like to call place to play. So Cassian just officially learned place. Cassie, don't eat that tape. Good boy. Here at the studio the other day. So we're going to start to capture the act of settling, which is something that Chloe's been learning. I noticed that Cassian was kind of already offering those behaviors on the place bed when we were learning it. So there's the potential, that he's already been working on it at home. But either way, he's ready, she's ready, although you guys are on you guys picked the wrong beds, clearly. So I am going to see if I can get Chloe on this bed so she has lots of room to settle. So we're going to ask these guys to get up onto the place bed, and we're going to wait for them to settle in. And we're looking for that posture facilitated relaxation that you hear me talking about. And that's kind of been the theme for the week, because that's what we're working on kind of in both of our programs this week. Just like that. Okay, nice, perfect. So I'm going to ask Chloe to get up onto the big bed. I'm going to ask little man to get on the little bed. Chloe, place. Good. Cassie, place. So she's been having a little bit of a hard time with that implied stay with place. Good. So we're working on that with her as well. So these guys are both sitting. I'm going to kind of take some of my spatial pressure off, which puts the dog at what we call a choice point. I get to a certain distance where the puppy or the dog goes, I'm either going to follow you or I'm going to do something else. So we want to find that threshold where the dog's like, ooh, I'm inclined to follow you. Good. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to let them kind of play and fart around. Woohoo! They kind of just already got their yayas out, so they're not playing as hard. Chloe's looking for some water, huh? Yay! Chloe wants to earn food, I think. So we're going to go ahead and send these guys back to place. Cassian. Cassie. Chloe, place. Good. Place. Nice. Cassian. You got puppy brain. Don't bite the leash. Good. Place. Whoops. And he might not have the verbal cue just yet, so because he's a puppy, I'm going to help him out. Good girl, boy. Please don't chew your leash. Good. So if he's chewing on his leash, I'm going to use an upwards pressure towards his collar. So if he's biting the leash, I might need to get underneath it where it's closer to his neck. And I'm just going to use a slight upwards pressure until he stops. Good. So puppies at this age, good girl, Chloe. That's not your release cue. So with implied stays, we want to make sure that we can use our good reward marker as a keep going signal. Good. So I'm using a slight upwards pressure. He's got a hold of the leash really close to his neck, so I'm kind of having to get really close to get pressure from under there. Good. So puppies, good. Good. At this age are little scientists, and they want to, good girl, they want to see if things are happening in a consistent way. If I do this, does that happen? If I do it again, does that keep happening? So they want to test and test and test their little theories. So it's important that, one, good girl, that we have lots of patience, and make sure that we're, two, being consistent. So if you chew on your leash, I'm going to consistently apply an uncomfortable amount of pressure until you stop, and I'm going to do that every time. And he's going to go, oh, okay, that's not worth doing anymore. That's a brick wall. And every time I try it, this happens. Now I understand how that works. Great. So these guys are nice and relaxed. I would like to be able to, So going back to Chloe, with implied stays, I want to have the ability to use my good reward marker with food, but have her maintain the behavior. So remember, good reward markers are like keep going signals. It should indicate I like what you're doing. I may pair it with food or not, but you should not stop doing what you're doing. So making sure that this is kind of where having an implied stay system, good, is a really great thing to do. Because it builds clarity. She's going to start to learn, he's going to start to learn that I'm still expected to maintain this behavior even when she gives that dog food, or even when this happens or that happens. Good. So I'm going to go over here and feed Chloe again. And I'm going to say, good boy. So I can use my good reward marker without paying them food. And I'm going to withhold using food until he settles. Good. Because that's my biggest criteria for this training session, is that these guys learn that, he's got the puppy hiccups. We want that posture. And Chloe's actually looking pretty relaxed, but generally when we're capturing this posture, that happens before the actual relaxation happens. So the saying is that if the body's in a position of calm, the mind's more likely to follow. So the longer they spend, and he's kind of got a shoulder foot hanging off the bed, but I'm not going to count that as wrong because he's a baby puppy and probably, except for when you chew, he probably has no idea that half his body's off of it. So that's not a big deal. Good. Okay. Nice. Good job. No food. Both of these guys are hungry, I think. Nice job, guys. So we're going to do one more round. I'm going to hang on to Chloe. I'm going to start working on Cassian's verbal place. Hey, Cassian, place. Good. I'll go ahead and give him a treat. It's going to be tough for Chloe. Chloe, place. Good girl. So you, good. 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 So I'm finding that threshold where the dog's inclined to follow me, maybe. We call this a choice point. So Chloe made the right choice. Oops. And then she didn't. Cassian was inclined to follow. Finding that choice point. Good. I'm going to go in and feed him. Oops. If he pops up, I'm going to reset. So I'm finding that choice point. That's the right answer. That's the wrong answer. You get fed. You get back to place. Good. So that was spatial pressure. Good. Good. Okay. So we're going to end the session there. These guys are doing good, and we're going to feed some lunch because I think they're hungry.